Welcome back to another edition of EAA, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is my 2021 Mustang GT. I just picked it up a few months ago, and you may recall if you watch the videos that when I got this car I talked about doing some things to it, which I have done. I talked about doing the wheels and tires, did that. Talked about lowering it about an inch, did that. And tinting the windows, did that. And I even talked about maybe doing some forced induction, but I was a little kind of, we'll see what happens. Well, I did it. I went on ahead and bit the bullet. I contacted my local Ford dealership, Price Ford here in Turlock, and got a quote from them, and just went on ahead and decided, you know what, why not? You only live once, let's do it. So now this thing is supercharged, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the options that I had when it came to supercharging the vehicle. I'm going to talk a little bit about the installation and show you guys under the hood what it looks like, take you out for a little drive, and then at the end I'm going to tell you if it was really worth doing. So I'm going to assume most of you are pretty familiar with these cars and what the Coyote motor is all about, but in stock form, 460 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. This happens to be a 10-speed automatic. I did not buy this car brand new. It had 1,600 miles on it. It has just a little over 1,700 right now. So still under full factory warranty. Nothing else has been done. No exhaust, no intake, nothing at all had been done to it. And in stock form, these cars are very impressive. I was very impressed with this car, how well it pulled, how well it ran out for the horsepower. These cars, you know, about 3,900 pounds, what have you. And it really did impress me. I enjoyed driving it. And I thought, well, wow, I mean, more horsepower is always a good thing, right? So I went on ahead and bit the bullet and did it. But let me just say, in stock form, these cars are very impressive. So essentially, I really didn't need to do a supercharger. I just wanted to. I'm just quirky that way. And when I get something in my head, I want to do it. I want to experience it, and I want to see what it's all about. And yeah, so I did it. A lot of dealerships are doing this nowadays, where you can take either your Mustang or you can take your F-150 down and they'll put a supercharger on it. And here's the nice thing, you can still get a factory warranty, it's all taken care of, and you just get like a lot more horsepower. So let me tell you about the options that I had when it came to a supercharger. I actually had two options, and I'll tell you which one I went with and why I went with that one. So I essentially was given two options from my dealership. I could go with either a Whipple or a Roush supercharger. Now the Whipple claimed 825 horsepower and I want to say like 630 pound-feet of torque. Now of course these are all crank numbers. That's what they claim. Now car hasn't been dynoed, so I don't know for sure if that's what it's putting out or not. I doubt it, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I also had the choice to go with a Roush, and the Roush was claiming 750 horsepower and 670 pound-feet of torque. Now I opted to go with the Roush for three reasons. Number one, I like the fact that the Roush was turning out a little bit more torque than the Whipple was. And number two reason was I still get to keep my factory warranty. I'm still 3 years, 36,000 miles. I'm still good on that, so I'm not voiding the warranty there. And the number three reason that I went with the Roush over the Whipple was it was about 800 bucks cheaper. Now, total installation cost for all the equipment, everything to have them do it, tune it, everything like that, and set it up the way it is right now was $13,500 and some change. That did include an oil change. And, you know, I didn't think that was too bad considering the fact that I was going to be gaining essentially 290 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. Now, I suspect that maybe I don't quite have that much horsepower in this one due to the fact that the 750 horsepower, 670? Is that what I said? 670 pound-feet of torque. That was under 93, using 93 octane fuel, and we only get 91 out here in California. So I suspect that this might be tuned down just a little bit, even though I do run an octane booster in my fuel. I didn't tell them that, and I'd rather keep it safe because eventually I will sell this car, and I don't want the future owner to have any issues or what have you. But I still know that we're north of 700 crank horsepower, and I would say probably low, maybe approaching mid 600 pound-feet of torque. And numbers are impressive. The numbers are impressive. It's still a big gain over stock. So let me show you what the installation looks like. You guys can see there, nice big supercharger. The Roush. Roush works really well with Ford. I suspect that's probably why there was a warranty. There was no warranty with the Whipple. If I would have went with the Whipple, I would not have had the rest of my factory warranty. And then gained a different airbox. I don't know that there's anything really like fancy about it. It looks like a K&N filter to me, with just a little like plastic window so you can see the air cleaner. I don't know that it's really improving the airflow that much or not, but this is the way it came. You know, whenever you put a supercharger under the hood, you also create a lot more heat underneath the hood, so there's the possibility of heat soak, especially as it gets warmer. The warmer months might be an issue with that, so we'll have to see how that goes. Right now it's fairly cool, so really shouldn't be an issue. But before I talk about if it was worth it worth the money spent, was it worth the time and everything like that, let me take you guys for a little spin. You can hear it running. You do not hear the supercharger. Every now and then I get like a really faint little sound, almost like I had a C5Z06 that had a Pro Charger on it, and you'd hear that little whistle, that little sound, but you don't hear really anything. Sounds like a completely stock 5.0. I'm gonna get a little temperature in it before I step into it. And bear in mind right now, traction control's on. It's a little chilly out this morning, but not too bad. Saying like 49 degrees. It's probably a little cooler than that because I just pulled this thing out of the shop. So, but driving it, it drives completely normal, completely stock. You would never know there's anything going on underneath there. Just putting through the gears. Does exactly what it did before. And if I haven't raved enough about the 10-speed automatic already, I'll rave a little bit more. It's just, with so many gears and the way it shifts so smoothly, there's always the right gear to keep you in the power torque, the power band. This supercharger, I was looking at some of the dynos that have been done on other vehicles, and it starts making really good torque at about 2,500, and all the way up to about 6,500 is pretty consistent. Then like the horsepower torque just kind of drops off there. But it makes really good consistent horsepower and torque all the way through the, you know, RPM range. So that's very moderate acceleration and already exceeding the speed limit. I mean, that was maybe half throttle. Like I said, I have the traction control on right now. When I first got the car and driving it, I was kind of like, okay, this thing doesn't really seem horribly impressive to me. But I would notice that the traction control light would be blinking off and on up to about 75 or 80 miles an hour before it really kicked in. So I know I was losing a little bit of power there. So the other day when I was driving it, I actually took traction control off. And of course I've got to pedal it because anything around 40 miles an hour, give or take, you step into it, it just wants to put the back end sideways. But I definitely noticed a difference in the way it accelerates, and I gained a little bit more respect for it. But, so this is 50. So it goes. I mean, you can't add that much horsepower and torque and not notice a difference in the seat of the pants, and I definitely have a difference here. It definitely gets up and runs very, very nicely. Let's see if we can flip around just really quick here in front of these nice people who probably hate me for it. Definitely tell when traction control comes off. I was right there down low, traction control obviously cut power, you guys could hear that. But you can hear, or I should say you can really feel once you get up in that range, suddenly it's like I feel myself getting set back in the seat because obviously traction control is no longer and we're getting good traction. I would probably be smart to upgrade the rear tires. I just put brand new tires on this thing, but I would probably be smart to upgrade them. Get a little bit more traction. Of course, you guys know I love the Toyo R888s, and I'm sure it would hook a lot better. Now, I'm going to take traction control off, live a little dangerously here. I'm going to have to pedal it off the line because I do not want to wreck this car. definitely pedaled it through the first couple of gears before I was able to get all the way into it, but she goes. She really, really, really goes very nicely. All right, let's take it back to the shop, wrap up the video, and I'll give you my final thoughts. So what is the verdict? Honestly, if you would have asked me when I first picked this car up from the dealership, drove it home, and basically I did, I just drove it home, stepped into it a couple of times, I would have said no, it wasn't worth it. Primarily because I was expecting something a lot more violent, just a lot more. But then I figured out that whole traction control thing and started thinking about it and go, well, okay, I'm not getting 100% power up to about 75 miles an hour. And then it's taken over. Now that I figured that out and have driven it a little bit, and you can see what I just did with traction control off, I would say yes, definitely. Now, this is the second time I have attempted to make this video. The first time I actually took this thing out for a drive and the check engine light came on. So I called Price Ford, they said bring it right down. I took it down to them, they had it for about half the day, and they just reset some codes. It was probably something that just didn't crop up when they had disconnected everything and hooked the supercharger up and everything like that. So they're very good. I will say Price Ford has always treated me very, very good. I've done business with them a few times, and I could definitely recommend them. I will put their information in the description below, so if you guys are local and you're looking for a vehicle or need some help with a supercharger, they can definitely help you out. Good people. So yeah, I think the verdict is yes, if you've got the money and you want a really fast car that, in my opinion, is probably faster than about 95% of anything that's out there on the street today. I mean, let's face it, this thing now is right at the same power level as a GT500 for about half the price. So, you know, it's fast. It is. It's very fast. It's faster than we need. It's faster than I need, but it sure is a lot of fun. So, yeah, thumbs up. Definitely thumbs up. So as always, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My P.O. Box and my Instagram will be in the description below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.